Hello, it's Gem Games here, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to create this hyper casual runner game movement system. So the player is running forward, and when we, for example, click from here, the player will move to there, or from here, the player will move to there. So yeah, you can see the player will follow the mouse or the touch. So yeah, let's get started. So what we want to do first, we want to delete all the things from the level that we don't need. So I will select all these, delete them, also the third person text, like this. Then I will quickly add a cube, like this, and I will make this scale to like 500 on the X and 5 on the Y and 0.25 on the Z. Then I will set the set location to 0 and this to like 24,000. So it's like this. Okay, now I will set the player start to the 0 mark and actually a little bit up. And why is it not in the middle? Oh, I have set this to 60. I don't know why. I want to set it to 50. Actually, I want to set to 0. I'm stupid. Yeah. Okay, now let's get to the movement. So let's go to the third person folder and to the blueprints. And let's open our PP play third person character. Here we can actually just delete everything else than the begin play. And then what we want to do, we want to go to the viewport and we want to delete the camera boom and follow camera. And now let's add an arrow. Let's call this camera spawn. And I want to move it to like -300 on the Y, on the X, 0 on the Y and 200 on the Z. And also on the Y rotation I want to set it to -25. So the camera will spawn there. Okay, compile and save. Now let's move this to here next to the third person map. And now what we want to do, we want to create a new blueprint type actor, and we want to call this player camera. Okay, let's open it. And here on the player camera, we want to add a camera like this. Then we want to go to the event graph and we want to delete everything else than the begin play. And what we want to do next is we want to right click and get player controller. And then we want to get from it and we want to set view target with blend like this. And now from the new view target, we want to just get reference to self. So it will make us basically the new camera. So let's compile, save, and we can close this. Now here on the BP third person camera on the event graph, what we want to do on the begin play here on the end, we want to get from this and we want to spawn actor from class. That class will of course be the player camera. Okay. And the next thing is we want to get the camera spawn and we want to get world transform. Now we want to move it to here and connect to the spawn transform. And then we want to change the collision handling override to always spawn ignore collisions. Okay, now we basically already have our camera. So let's compile, let's save, and let's actually try that. So let's click on here on the three dots and let's play a new editor window. And you can see the player has possessed the camera. Okay, let's continue. The next thing, what we want to do, we want to right click and create a new blueprint class type player controller. And let's call this touch controller. Okay, then we want to go to our PP third person game mode and we want to set at new touch controller to our player controller. Like that. Let's compile and save, and we can close this. Now let's open the touch controller. And let's go to the event graph. We can we actually want to delete this event begin play, and we want to create a new function called add movement. Here in the add movement, we want to get player character, and here we want to add movement input. Okay, this will make the player run forward, and we want to set it to the X because we want to move on the X axis on the level. You can see here from the corner on the red axis. So let's set this to 1. Now let's go back to the event graph and let's connect this to the tick. Now when we compile and save and play, you can see our player is running. Okay, and one thing I forgot on the camera. So let's go there. Let's go to the player camera and let's add a tick, event tick to here. Let's create a new function called follow player. Okay, and here on the follow player, what we want to do, we want to go to the event. No. We want to create a new variable, and this will be called player ref, and the variable type will be third character object reference, and we want to make it instance editable and expose on spawn. So now when we compile and save, and here the third person character, we can now see when we refresh this node that we have this player ref here. Now we want to get a reference to self, so we will basically pass this reference of the player to the camera. Now compile and save, and back to the camera. And here on the follow player, what we want to do, we want to first get our default scene root. Let's actually get it to here. Then we want to set world location, like this maybe. And let's split the new location. Now we want to get world location. We want to also split this. And let's move these to maybe to here. Yeah. And now we want to connect the Y and the Z straight away to here. And to the X, what we want to do, we want to get our player ref, and we want to get the camera spawn, actually here, and then we want to get world location. This, and let's split it, and let's actually move this also to here. Let's align these. So the X we want to connect there, so it will follow, or basically it doesn't change the Y nor the Z location. It only will take the X location from the camera spawn. Okay, compile and save. Now here on the event graph, we want to get the follow player and also call it on the event tick. Compile and save. So now when we play, you can see our camera is following our player. Okay, next thing what we want to do is we want to go to the touch controller, and here over the event tick, let's right click and let's get a touch and scroll down until we find this touch that says only touch. Okay, and now we want to create a new variable, and this will be called touch or touched or whatever. And on the pressed, we want to set it to true, and let's move it to here. Now let's copy it to here, and from the released, we want to set it to false. Then let's add a branch to here and connect the moved to there, and also from the pressed we want to connect to there. And let's move these a little bit upwards. So what we want to check here now is we want to split the location, and we want to get the X location on the screen, and we want to check if it's greater, and then we want to get viewport size, and we want to split it, and we want to get the Y value divided by 2. So we are basically getting the half of the screen on the Y-axis. Okay? And then we want to connect this to here. So we want to check if our... sorry, I'm stupid. We want to check if the location Y on the screen is greater than the half size of our screen. So basically we're checking if our mouse is on the bottom half of the screen. Okay, let's connect it to here, and let's actually compile and save all. I noticed we have a lot of unsaved things. So the next thing what we want to do, we want to get from the location X, and we want to convert screen location to world space. Okay, and here we want to split the world location, and we can promote this Y location to a variable. Let's call it touch location Y. Okay, now let's compile and save and play. Now when we click on the screen, nothing will happen because I have to change one setting. So let's quickly go to the project settings. And here we want to search for a touch, and we want to use mouse for touch. Okay, and also on the touch controller we want to click on the root of it, and we want to show mouse cursor. So now when we compile, save and play, you can see, actually you can't because we are not printing it to the screen yet. So here, after the touch location Y, let's print string. Now let's connect it to here, also to here. So now when we click, you can see we have this value when we touch or click the screen, but it's not correct. So what we have to do here is we want to actually multiply this value, connect to here. And what we want to multiply this with, let's actually promote this to a variable, and let's call it touch follow multiplier. Okay, let's compile and save. And I tested a few different values, and then I noticed that 33 is pretty much the correct. So let's compile, save, and let's see. So now when we click and move, you can see here it says around 250, which it should be, because I don't know the exact position of the player on this this direction, so I don't know, but I think it's around this 33. So now we can continue with the code. So what we want to do next, we want to create a new function called touch movement. Then we want to go to the event graph, and here on the event tick, which we want to move a little bit further down, let's connect the touch movement also. Now let's open the touch movement. And here we want to first add a branch, so B and left click. Check it like this. We want to check if we are touching. And after that, we want to get player character and get actor location like this. Let's split it. And we want to check if the y value is nearly equal to float. And now we want to get the touch location y and make the error tolerance to like 0.1. Okay, let's add a b branch, so b and left click from the true and connect to here. So we're checking if our player is already near the touch location. And actually, we want to get a not boolean. We want to check that the player is not already near that. So if it's not, we can move. But if it is, we don't want to do anything. And then we want to get the player character again. And from here we want to set actor location. Let's leave some space. Connect from the true. And yeah, here we want to first get actor location. Then we want to split it, and we also want to split this new location, and we want to connect the X and Z to here. And now from the Y, we want to f-interp 2 like this. Actually, yeah. And the current value will be this return value Y, so the current position of the player. And the target will of course be the touch location Y. And delta time, let's get from it, and let's get world delta seconds. And interspeed we want to promote to a variable, and this will be called touch follow speed. Let's compile so we can set the default value. Let's set it to 10. So now we're getting the player's location, and we are only changing the Y location, and we are getting our touch location, and we're interping to it by this speed. Simple as that. Compile and save. And now when we play and we click, you can see the player is following the touch. But one more thing, now when we go here, he will drop. So how can we fix that? What we want to do, I actually have to restart the editor because it has glitched. So let's continue. What we want to do, we have this platform. We want to just copy it. Let's actually rename it to be platform. And you can obviously do this on your, if you have like some modular spawning platform thing, you can do it there. But now what we want to do, I want to just duplicate this. So Control C, Control V, or just Control D, it doesn't matter. And let's rename this to be invisible wall L, for example. And now let's set this Y scale to 0.25 and set scale to like 2 and set location to 100. So it will be here. And now on the Y, let's set it to -250. Okay. And now we want to scroll down, and here visible, we want to just make it false. Now you can just duplicate this again. Invisible wall, and now let's call it R. Now let's click from here. Now we want to change this Y location to positive number, so positive 250. So it will be basically here. So let's save, let's play, and let's see what happens. You can see he will no longer drop off from the level. And yeah, everything is working like it's supposed to work. So yeah, I actually think that was all for this video. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button and subscribe for more. And yeah, hope you have a great day and see you in the next one. Bye.